Hey y'all, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome to Hope Ignited.
You know what? You may not be a race fan, but after watching our episode today, you're going to become a race fan.
That's right. We're going into the pits with three of drag racing's most famous families.
One of them actually is going to take us on a play-by-play, first-hand account of a crazy wreck that he had. You guys are going to remember it. It made SportsCenter. It was really eerie.
Yeah, but stick around for an amazing interview with these families, and then we're going to have some fun afterwards. Welcome to Hope Ignited.
Hey, you guys. Welcome to Hope Ignited with three pro stock racers and Kevin.
And me, just the dumpy guy on the end here.
You could have worn the suit. You could have worn the suit. I had to fight you for it.
Look at how cool Ashley looks right now.
What's
okay,
new?
Ashley, can you kind of like stand? We didn't plan
Can I
this, but
stand?
can you stand up?
Stand on the chair.
Stand on the chair. I don't know. Just get more visible. Get more visible. Like step like right here or whatever. Yeah, that didn't help at all. I think she shrunk. But isn't this amazing? She's got a fire suit on right now.
Yes.
Okay. So why do you have a race suit on?
Because my race idol's in the studio today.
Okay, here we go.
Let me tell you, Camrie is no stranger to NBCF, but she is a stranger to Hope Ignited. You guys help us welcome to the studio, Marc and Camrie Caruso.
All right.
We're so happy you're
Welcome.
here.
Well, thank you for
This is
having
the coolest
us.
the studio seriously has ever looked. Look at that shot.
Yeah, we're a team.
It's so good. We have a million questions for you guys, but I think, we've been teasing this for a while to our audience, and a lot of the questions and feedback we're getting is just, can you describe the different levels of racing? Like we say pro stock, but what does that mean for people that aren't familiar?
So there's a lot of levels. There's pro stock, sportsman racing, pro racing, top fuel racing, but pro stock motorcycle, top fuel, and funny car are the four pro classes in NHRA pro stock, and those are the professional classes that race the full season and compete for the championships and the countdown to the championship. So it's pretty cool.
That is really cool. And what is a full season like for you? Like how many months a year are you racing?
So this year we went from beginning of February to middle of November.
Okay, Mardi Gras to Thanksgiving. I got it. Okay.
Perfect.
Very cool. And then is it just like the better you do, the longer you go?
No. So we have what you call a regular season, which our race in February doesn't count towards our points. It's just a fun pro race for big money. I mean, I think we should race for that kind of money all year, but
Amen.
It's not my decision.
Amen.
But from March in the Gator Nationals all the way to Indianapolis in September, we race for a spot in the countdown. And then we have 6 races that are the countdown to the championships where the points reset. Everybody gets super tight in points and you fight for your championship. So it's pretty cool, but it's definitely a little stressful.
Well, and I will say 2022 Rookie of the Year. No big deal. I mean, how cool.
Amazing. One thing and we always do an intro just for you guys. We didn't even tell you that. So we've already introduced you guys and laid out some of your credentials. But just as a recap, Marc, who is Camrie's dad, is the second generation race car driver.
Yep.
There's, believe it or not, there is a older and a
Wiser.
very accomplished Papa Joe, as they call him, right?
Yep.
Papa Joe Caruso.
Papa Joe's going to be on the podcast soon.
Papa Joe, his brother, Papa John, has a great pizza line. But anyway, so we have like 3 generations essentially of race car drivers. Really excited to have Marc on here as well. He was a pro mod racer. What is the difference between the two, by the way?
So, pro modified you're allowed different power adders. So in pro modified, you have your engine, but somebody may run a turbo. Somebody might run nitrous oxide. I ran what they called supercharger. Mine was blown alcohol, and they would cover the quarter mile in about 5.7 seconds at over 250 miles an hour. So you're pulling about 3 Gs in probably the first half a second.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so where Pro Stock is based on a 500 cubic inch engine, fuel injection, and everybody, that's it. There's no power adders. It comes down to whoever can tune the fuel injection the best. Maybe come up with a manifold that's within the rules, that maybe flows air a little bit better. Camry's cars, the Pro Stock cars, all have clutches. She leaves with a clutch and then shifts the car. It's a 5-speed. She shifts it 4 times. Where in Pro Modify, we left off of what was called a trans brake button. Button holds the car at a certain RPM on the starting line. You let go, the car leaves. Some people would run a 2-speed, a 3-speed, but it was normally air shifted or electric shifted or some type of solenoid shifting. So the cars were actually very different, where Camry's car covers the quarter mile in about 6.5 seconds at just over 210 miles an hour.
Does shift do a lot more work, though? Is that what you're saying? Because
you
of the
are.
shifting?
I always referred to Pro Stock as like the most athletic class within the NHRA professional categories.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
It's
the LeBron of pro
She's
stock racing.
yeah.
not
but
only
with
does
better
she
hair.
have to have the reaction time on the starting line, but she has to have the reaction time 4 more times down the racetrack,
Yeah.
because there's a shift light that comes on at 10,500 RPMs, and she has, if you miss that shift point 50 RPMs one way or the other, you're not making a great run.
I don't think people are understanding this. You think this is just like an instant Botox slimming fake run. That's not what this is.
like it's getting-
the amount of things that you're doing in 6 seconds. Like it's more than I've accomplished
Here
in
it
my
is, right
entire
here.
life.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's
Don't
what
make
you
me do that
think.
again.
Yeah.
I have a headache now.
How? How do you, first of all, let's just start at the beginning. How did you know this is what you wanted to do?
Well, I started in juniors when I was like 8 years old.
Okay.
And then I moved up to, actually I got a dragster before I was 16.
I got a
But
Nintendo.
it's okay.
Yeah, right?
So I went to Super Comp Dragster, then moved up to Top Dragster and Top Alcohol Dragster, which was like 280 miles an hour at that point. And then I went to a door car, which was a Pro 632 car. I wanted to take his Pro Mod, but him and Papa basically told me there's no shot, so stop asking.
The Pro Mods are a little bit more volatile than, don't get me wrong. She had a pretty bad accident back in April
Yes.
of this year
Yeah.
in Phoenix, Arizona. And I had a couple myself, but the Pro Modified classes, it's a little bit more volatile than the Pro Stock.
That's how much you love her, right? Like,
Yes.
but not this.
Yes. And even when she ran Top Alcohol Dragster, she was covering the quarter mile and just a low 5.1 seconds at 280 miles an hour.
He would disappear. Like, he'd see me at the pit before I went up, and then he'd be
That was
gone.
very stressful for me.
I was like, where is Dad?
Okay, wait. So going back real quick, how old were you when you were in one of those cars that was going 200 miles plus, 200 plus miles
I think
an
I
hour?
made my first 200-mile run at like 18, 19.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
That's crazy.
Who would win a Mario Kart race between the two of you?
Okay, that's not fair because he will run
wow,
me
this is
over
a
and flip
real
me
answer.
over. We've gotten kicked
We
out
actually
of
got
every
kicked out of some
place.
go-kart places.
Yeah.
He's vicious.
Yeah.
It's
Bumper
not-
cars must be
You're on the
murder,
most
huh?
wanted list in like 49 of 50
It's
we're
not
not
states.
allowed.
even-
We're not allowed in a
It's
few
not
of them.
even fun. He's like vicious.
What you're saying is you don't want her to die unless you're the one that causes it in a go-kart. Okay,
Sounds
I
about
got you.
right.
Okay, I got you. That makes
fair.
sense. That's a competitive. So from a competition perspective, obviously your family's super competitive. What is another thing like ping pong or something where you guys just
We
come
have
to
a
blows?
problem with Yahtzee.
Yeah.
We get very
Okay.
aggressive about the game
Understand that.
Yahtzee.
That's fair.
And it usually ends in an argument of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So we just
Monopoly, you probably don't even pull that out, right? Like that's the one that everyone just wants to
No.
murder each other.
I actually just won a Halloween version of Monopoly at an arcade in St. Louis.
Congratulations.
You should put that on your website.
One of the things,
accomplishments.
It only cost the whole team who knows how much money because they were all bowling. And I was like, I don't want to bowl. I want to play the arcade games.
Yeah.
So
Rain
but-
day at the racetrack usually
Okay.
ends up at a bowling alley or.
I like it. Why
sounds
not?
fun.
Mark, you spoke a little bit about this, but I want to lean into it a little bit. So my kids are young, right? 6 and 4, but just a maternal instinct. I want to know more about what it feels like to be the dad of a daughter who's behind that race.
It's pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie. I stepped out of racing in 2021 to really focus more on Camry's racing career, and when she said that it was something that she really wanted to follow and do as a profession. I'll be completely honest with you. And it was weird because my father kind of said this to me at one point, because my father stepped out of a race car so I could get in and drive. And he said for years and years that he got just as much enjoyment, if not more, standing on the starting line and watching and being in the winner's circle pictures and all that stuff with us. And I feel the same way. Like, honestly, would I love to drive again? Yes, I would. But if I don't, I'm okay with it too, because I get just as much satisfaction out of seeing Camrie's accomplishments.
I think
I
I
see
push
that.
him
Yeah.
to get back in more than he pushes it. I'm like, hey, you want to get your license?
That's-
Hey, let's go do this.
I got to experience that firsthand. I mean, thanks to True Brand, we've had the opportunity to be out there with you guys a couple of years, and we'll have a chance to talk to them here in just a little bit. But we were out for 2 runs this past weekend, and the first time I watched you, the second time I watched you, and it's really incredible just to see. It's like all these levels of emotions within 6 seconds, right? Like the second that parachute came out, I
Yep.
just saw this, like, not relief, but almost just like you felt you were good.
Yes.
It was like this weight was lifted off your shoulders a little
Yep.
bit. It's kind of like at a wedding, everybody's looking at the bride. I was looking at the groom. So it was a really cool moment. But you talked about the wrecks. I think a lot of people really remember your big wreck.
Yeah.
Do you think about that? Do you have to block that out of your head?
Yeah, you do. It's it's you kind of go into this deal knowing not if but when. And Camrie's came a lot sooner than I wanted it to come. But hers there was nothing that she was going to do. She was along for the ride. It wasn't like it happened early in the run and she had an opportunity to, like, okay, I should lift, the car's squirrely. I mean, she actually, technically, she had aborted the run. She went out first gear, second gear, the car shook. She lifted. She just kind of got back in it not to make a full pass, but just to get down the track and get out of the way so the next pair could run. And literally went through the finish line about 70 miles an hour less than she normally would on a full run, and just the rear brakes locked up, and she made an immediate left-hand turn right into the wall, bounced off that wall and went into another wall. So yeah, you have to, if you're going to do this, you do have to put that behind you and kind of move on and realize, like I said to her, there was nothing she didn't do anything to cause it.
Yeah.
So, it was one of those deals, and mine was kind of a freak deal too. The parachutes didn't come out. The brake pedal went to the floor. It was like the perfect storm.
Yeah, everything came
and
together.
It was just, I was along for the ride.
What
There
are
was
you
nothing.
thinking in that moment?
Well, honestly, at first, I don't know if you noticed or not on Camrie's car, but the Pro Mod car, same deal. There's 2 parachutes that deploy. And occasionally you will have one parachute that doesn't deploy, or sometimes they'll get tangled in themselves and neither deploy. But there's usually enough shutdown area that you can get on the brakes nice and easy and get the car to stop enough, or you get it slowed down enough. There's a sand trap at the end. Maybe you go into the sand and the car settles down a little bit before you get to the catch nets. There's 2 catch nets. Well, in my case, that weekend we were in Bristol, Tennessee, and I had made a run, the first run, and when I went through the finish line, I didn't feel, you feel those parachutes deploy. Like it's a negative G.
Yeah.
Like that they deploy.
Back to normal face.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I had a button on my steering wheel that deploys the parachutes, okay, I hit the button and I didn't feel that like negative G. So I got on the radio. I said, did my parachutes come out? And my crew chief on the starting line, he goes, you got one, only one deployed. So I got on the brakes, was able to slow down, made the turn off, no problem. That was like Q1, I think, the first qualifying session.
Yeah.
Well, the second qualifying session that day, both came out fine. Went up for a third qualifying session, both came out fine. Well, in the fourth and final qualifying session, I actually did the burnout. And on the burnout, I noticed that the brake pedal was soft. I do have to take responsibility. I should have backed up and shut the car off. I should have never made the run.
Literally not in your DNA.
Okay.
Literally.
So when I backed up,
That's actually so
I had
funny
pumped
because it's true.
I had pumped the brake pedal a little bit, and the brake pedal had kind of came back, and I was able to stop and pull forward and stop enough to stage the car and stuff. So I didn't give it another thought. Well, when I went through the finish line that time at 5.7 seconds at 250 miles an hour, hit the button and I didn't feel anything. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, one parachute deployed again. No big deal.
Oh,
I go to
no.
get on the brake pedal, and the brake pedal went right to the floor. So I'm trying to pump it, can't get it anything back. So at this point, I know I'm going into the sand trap, and I know I'm going fast. So I tried to center up because you're in left, right lane. So I kind of centered up. And when I hit the sand, I'm like expecting the car to like sink or something. Well, it hit the sand and it hit it like a rock, like you skip a rock across water.
Yeah.
And the first catch net actually ripped the injector head off the supercharger and brought it through the windshield. Yeah, so I got
Right by your face?
Right by my face.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing I remember. The second one I hit, there was sand barrels at the second catch net. Well, in Bristol, Tennessee, there's a mountain after the second catch net.
You just see
So-
parts of the car in the mountain.
Yeah.
We're
so-
going to show this video because I was watching it earlier.
Yeah.
We'll run
It's
it earlier
scary.
on.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
fuel
scary
cell
video.
came off and went in the mountain, was on fire.
I was like, wait, can we have that back? We're gonna need that.
Right.
Yeah.
Give us the
Yeah,
pieces
yeah.
of the
But,
Pick
car.
it up out of the
Gonna need
sand.
that.
You do, it's kind of like they say you get back on the horse.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I had the car rebuilt and we went racing again until I crashed again in Darlington, South Carolina and hit a wall. Very similar to Camry, but earlier in the run. Had a new car built, went down to Bradenton, Florida in January to do some testing. Made a beautiful pass right off the trailer. Only went half track. It went 3.7 seconds at like 208 miles an hour at half track. Made a great run. Made two more runs. On the third run, blew up a brand new motor. And I just kind of said, you know what? I think I'm over this.
Yeah. That was your God wink, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So I, third time, I said, you know what? I think I'm about over this. And that was about the time that Camry was, really wanting to pursue like this pro stock thing and had some opportunities. And I figured, you know what? She's a lot better looking than me and a lot younger. And there's probably going to be some great marketing opportunities with brands like True Brand.
Yeah.
That will help her accomplish what she wants. And that's what we've done.
and here we are, a
we
million
are.
broken bones later.
Yeah.
A million.
Broken back, concussions.
Oh my God.
You say like it's not in your blood to lift, and it's so funny because it's so true. There was a time in the 632 car right before pro stock time. He was like, "Shut it off." I'm like, "No." I'm like telling him no, and he's like, "Shut the car off, dude." I'm like, "No." He reached in and shut it off.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true
Yeah.
fatherly love
I was
right
like,
there.
"I'm not shutting it off. I'm making the run."
You're like,
Get
I'm
out
your
of my way.
daughter. I'm
like
not
shooing
shutting it
him
off.
out of the way. I'm
I'm
like,
sure
"Get
it's
out."
way easier to be outside the car saying shut it off than it is to be in the seat,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I probably would have done the same thing to my father.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've gone out in the beginning of the season, and going testing and stuff. He's like, all right, well, just take it to half track. And I get to half track and I'm like, man, it feels good. And I just take it right to the finish line. And he'd come back and he'd come down to the finish line screaming at me. I told you to take it to half track. I go, no, but it felt good.
Papa Joe knows best.
Yeah.
I'm Team Papa Joe on this one. No, you were telling me you noticed something really unique in the car one time with Camry. Let's dig in on that a little bit.
I don't know what video that was, but I saw a giraffe, a pet giraffe sitting in the seat next to you. Okay,
The
first
giraffe.
of all, what's that about? And then second of all, if that's not a thing you do every time, do you take any like good luck charms with you in the car?
Oh gosh. So the giraffe is actually a really funny story. It's not in this car right now because this car wasn't mine in the beginning of the year. The giraffe is from a guy named Rick Bowling and his girlfriend, I think. And he gave it to me when I started 632 racing. He bought one of my dragsters. I then drove it for him. We bought it back. Then he bought it back. We basically like shared this dragster for a few years, and I drove it the whole time basically. And he supported us in the 632 stuff. He
And
supported
early
us
in the
in
pro
the pro
stock,
stock
yeah.
stuff. I still talk to him probably once or twice a month. And he gave me that when I went pro stock racing and 632 racing and just said, hey, this reminded me of you. Like all your little quirks, here you go.
That's so cool.
So it
Yeah.
made it to the pro stock car. And then when I moved into my new pro stock car, my team, they're a little more like put together so that we don't do the whole stuffed animal in the car thing.
That's fair. That's fair.
But we do have it sitting on at the shop, we all have big carts. Like mine's H15 because that's my car. It's named. And he sits on H15 and looks over the car when it's there and the guy's working on it.
So the giraffe is still apart, but you do have a really unique bumper sticker. What does that bumper sticker say?
Oh no! It says if you're rich, I'm single because it's very expensive to do this.
I think that's
She's
genius.
looking.
I think that's genius.
Well, you know what's funny about that is a fan gave that to her.
Oh, really? Was he
Was that a
handsome?
proposal?
I know,
Yeah.
right? Did
See,
you
that's
say
a loaded
yes?
question.
Any trinkets though in the car at all? If not the giraffe, anything that's special that you can reveal?
Well,
that
I
you will
used to
reveal?
put my sunglasses in this little cup holder per se, but they kept coming out on the racetrack, and then somebody would have to go get them, and it just.
Well, you have a
little
cup
bit of
holder?
Well, it's
Kind
not a cup. It's actually for the radios.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a radio in her car anymore, but we used to have a radio in her car so
So I
the
use it
crew
as a
chief
cup
could talk
holder.
to her.
That ruins it because I just picture you having a mocha
Starbucks.
latte in the little thing, and then it just goes, just swishes right on up.
Hey,
and-
Starbucks has a pink drink. If you'd like to sponsor this segment,
Yeah.
we'd love to include a pink
Here we
drink.
go.
Yeah, there's room for you on the car.
Opportunity
There's room for you
One
on the
other
car.
thing, Camrie, on that along those lines. Well, it's not along those lines at all. But when we were talking earlier about you being younger and driving and all that, I think it's the most hilarious thing that by the time you were 16 to get your public driver's license, you would have destroyed anyone else in a race in any vehicle that was anywhere close to normal.
Well,
So you go in to do a driving test. What happened in that? I mean, did you just come in and go, listen up, bro?
I'm going to tell you the truth because she won't tell it.
I failed my driver's test 3 times.
Oh
Stop
my
it!
gosh.
Stop it!
That's
I
so
feel
much
like,
better.
I
She
feel
was
like your
going
driver's
100
ed instructor's like rock paper scissors, like you got to take her. I'm not going to take her. You take her.
Part is they were like, so there's easy spots in New York and hard spots. Well, didn't know that at the time. Thanks, Dad. He took me to the hard one, and the lady was so mean to me.
I would do that to
She
my
was
kids.
like, no 5 over. You didn't let a mom and a baby across the street. I was like, they weren't on a crosswalk, first of all. I have a vehicle that can end your life. Like, you think you'd watch out.
right? That's
Nope.
fair.
Nope.
That's
she was
fair.
very logical.
She was going 180
Thank
miles an hour in a dragster before she had her regular road license.
So then you got to go in like a Prius. You got to stay 5 miles
Yeah,
an hour
right.
over.
I
or less.
definitely failed my driver's test way too many times to be a race car driver, but it's okay.
Did she tell you, did you tell the instructor that you were a race car driver?
Not the first time. I was trying to be very calm and nice about the situation. And then the second time I was like, yo, I go way faster than this. Can you just give me my license,
That's
please?
You just got to show a video and say, do you think I don't know how to drive?
They didn't care. They
don't
really were
care.
upset
Oh,
about my
man.
paper
I wish I was
abilities.
your
Hey,
instructor. I
y'all
would've-
need Southern hospitality next time. Get it in the South. I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
One thing I really want to know from you guys, so 3rd generations of racing, what is Thanksgiving like at your house? Like, are you guys,
Do you talk about racing all the time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that's like a really big, I don't want to say problem, but it creates some tension sometimes because all we do is talk about racing and partners and sponsors and how we can get more and what we're working on and what next year looks like. Like my mom and his fiance, sometimes they're like, we honestly, like, why are we even here? Like, you guys only talk to each other. So
Yeah.
You guys need a sitcom. I'm telling you, I'd watch it. I think
My
it'd be
brother
a
was
Well,
Yeah.
we had a
show.
pretty good
Oops.
podcast going through COVID. That
my
was
poor brother, he's
yeah.
like, so, can I help you get some sponsors so I can be involved in the conversation?
Oh God.
Like, no.
Is he
sorry.
older or younger?
He's younger.
Oh, I bet he's so proud of you. I bet you're the biggest deal in the world to him.
It's funny
I mean,
because
sometimes we like to beat each other up, but yes.
they drove. They're 3 years apart, and they were in junior dragsters together for
Yeah.
quite a few years.
He's my little buddy, but he's twice as big as
But
me.
as soon as Camrie grew out of the junior dragsters and got into the bigger cars, he didn't want a junior dragster race by himself anymore, and he just stopped racing. So he's more of a hot rodder into street cars and stuff now. He's still a car guy, but just got away from the racing.
Yeah, well,
No.
good for him.
He
I
didn't
mean,
wanna
that
do it
discernment,
alone.
that's pretty mature, right? To have that discernment and to be the one.
Well, we're recording this in October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I'm really curious to hear, and I know our audience would love to hear, what was your connection to breast cancer, and why did
So-
you get involved with NBCF?
Honestly, I had reached out to Cheer Brands, Crystal and Amber. They're awesome. Woman owned. Pretty cool. And they have been involved with you guys in a really good capacity, as I think you would agree.
Yeah.
And they told me, hey, we support this. I've always thought it was really cool. I've always followed you guys on Instagram and thought it was really cool and wanted to be involved in something like this. With the racing, like, let's race for a good cause. Like, we get to do this. We're super thankful and blessed to do it. Let's support something that has a good meaning behind it. So it was really neat that they had a connection to you guys and let us represent, because like you said, it's been a few years now, and to meet you guys and hang out with you guys at the racetrack and be able to show everybody, hey, it's not hard to support. Just either donate or share or talk about it, or just see the pink and know, hey, I need to be more mindful. Yeah. So it's been really cool, and I'm super thankful for the opportunity they've given me to represent it for you guys and them. But it's so funny because so many fans at the races, and even watching on social media and TV, they know the pink car. Mm-hmm. They know who's involved. They know it's coming in October. And everybody's like, I can't wait to see what it'll look like this year. So it's been really special to know that we've made an impact on people with the pink car.
Yeah, you're using your platform. We appreciate you so much for doing that.
Well, we appreciate what you guys do.
I love being able to support it because it's so fun for people to message in and comment and tell people, hey, they have the pink car coming up. Like, to know that that's something that they reference is so special.
When you look dang good in pink, girl. Pink is your signature color. You know, I didn't get to stick around for, you know, the final race this weekend or trophies, but there was something. I didn't get to hand you a trophy, but I did get you something. Doug's got a little present that I have for you, and I want you to know I spent $1 million on this, but I could not let you leave town without having it. I wanted you to have your very favorite snack for the plane.
You are so cute.
The way that I love you, and I want to make sure you're not malnourished.
Hold it up when we see it.
One of the things that we bond over is our love for junk food, in particular crunchy Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts.
There you go for the plane. I love you.
Honestly, I love you. That is so sweet. I was eating a Pop-Tart, and I have to admit, I leave my snacks around so bad. And it was lying on the table like normal. The guys always pick up after me, and I make a joke. I'll keep everything professionally looking, but like my snacks are everywhere. It's fine. And she's like, "Is that a Pop-Tart?" I'm like, yeah. She's like, "Oh my God, I love Pop-Tarts." I'm like, "You have no idea. I eat them on the plane every time. Like, I'm the best customer at the airport for these."
I couldn't let you leave. I mean, you want to know what these like world-renowned racers are thinking of in between runs. Camrie literally sitting in front of me, and she's got her head in her hand, and she's like, "I don't know if I want another Pop-Tart or a Nutter Butter." And I'm like, and now she's about to go crush some world record and like save all these people. Like,
say that.
It's incredible the way, but your humility and your talent, it's really what makes us love you. And I genuinely mean this from the bottom of my heart. As long as True Brand will have all of us together, it's the honor of a lifetime to get to work with you. You're such a great ambassador, not only for the sport, but for NBCF and the women and families we serve. And Mark, that's thanks to you. So thank you for raising such an incredible daughter.
Well, thank you. I don't know that I've ever told you guys this, but cancer tugs a little bit at my heart. I lost my mom at 3 years old to cancer. It wasn't breast cancer, but it was cancer. So what you guys do really means a lot to me.
Well, we love you guys dearly. I would not have squeezed into a race suit for anybody else in this world.
I wouldn't have done the show if you didn't.
There's a lot of Crisco inside of this thing. Don't worry. Yeah, it's fine.
You could fit another person with you.
I appreciate you
for that. On one of our
that.
previous episodes, I tried to get in this because I wasn't totally sure. Like, I was like, maybe I could fit in real quick because we were doing a sight gag. I ended up using the other one, but I only got to my calf.
You need to ask Crystal and Amber to see the video of Mike Davis trying to get in the one at their shop.
Yeah, True Brands.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to roll that video now. So you guys enjoy that video. That's your Mike Davis. Sorry, Mike.
He's not even here to defend himself.
Mark, thank you guys so much for spending time with us today. We love you guys, and we look forward to having you guys back in the studio next year. How about that?
With Papa Joe.
Sounds good.
That sounds fun.
Yep.
3
We love you
generations.
so much.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, we are excited to now be joined by two of our other very favorite. I mean, you want to talk about the most beautiful blonde in the world and the second best smile in the room. Help us welcome to the Hope Ignited podcast studio, Buddy and Johnna, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're so happy you're here.
Thank you.
I love being joined by a fellow blonde and somebody with a smile that good.
What
Can we
am I,
zoom in on
chopped liver?
that smile? Look at that smile. That's $1 million smile right
Well,
there.
I don't know about that, but
There's nothing
thank you
funny
for that.
about it.
That's true.
I'm going to see how many times I can bring funny into this conversation.
We should try to be funny and say as funny as many times as we can.
Let's
It's
do it.
funny,
That
honey.
sounds
I
funny.
like that. And Kevin's here.
I'm here. I'm the other blind that's
You
always
do.
here.
Your smile's good.
Thank you.
You're-
It's okay sometimes.
It's good.
Right.
It's good.
I'm smiling
Hey, at
today
least you got
because,
here.
Yeah. I'm smiling today because I love I love racing. I am thrilled by all this. I love talking about engines and things like that. I think we got to get into and hear what does funny car mean? What's really funny is our producer Jordan was asking for titles, and Buddy, you were explaining that. And I know that this has got to be the craziest thing. Probably little kids are like, "What is that?" When you say you're a funny car driver, what is a funny car?
Well, a funny car is basically, if you can imagine, a front engine car, right? But it's an evolution of a factory car. So, just like the factory cars that are produced today, but it's an evolution of. So, back in the 50s and 60s, guys and girls both, they would go to the dealership and buy their, the Camaro or their Challenger or whatever it was. And they would take that car and they would basically start cutting it apart, moving location of the engine, making it lighter, putting in bars to support it, whatever it may be. And that car kept evolving, and it kept getting faster, and then it kept getting lighter. So it eventually moved into what it is today, which is a car built out of a chromoly chassis. Driver sits in the center. The body is basically a rendition or a replica of a modern day car, such as we run a Dodge body, but there's Fords out there, Chevys out there, Toyotas out there, but and those bodies are made out of fiberglass. These cars make 12,000 horsepower. We go from 0 to 330 miles an hour in under 4 seconds. So
it's insane.
Oh,
insane.
4 seconds. How many G's is that?
5.5 to 6.2
that's
G's
like
at the
F16.
most. Greater than F-16. So my brother-in-law is actually an F-18 pilot in the Navy. So he and I have had many conversations, and we've shared notes about G-force. So they'll see more negative G-force. So when they're diving, they see more negative than we do. We see negative 3.5 when we're got the parachutes out, and they see more cornering because we don't do any cornering. But as far as the positive G-force, they never see what we see. They see 3.5 to 4, and that's when they're coming off the carrier. So, to my knowledge, nothing on this planet that has a wheel on it or even flies through the air pulls the type of G-force that we do.
Our one of our producers, Doug, drives like that regularly. So I would just say we could put him to the test. Yeah, he's a terrible driver.
Out here on Preston Road.
I've
Chevy
almost
truck, though.
died several times in his vehicle. Yeah. Okay. So that's incredible to me. First off.
Yeah.
Second of all, we're going to hear some accents here today. Buddy, where are you from?
Chicago.
Okay. Cubs or White Sox?
Yeah. Do the White Sox exist?
Okay.
Burn.
Ooh, okay.
There are 3
that
fans
just
in the
means
world,
actually
and Buddy
The only
is not
White
one of
Sox
them.
I know are the ones I used to wear in the 80s.
I love it. Go
Yeah,
Cubs,
there we
go.
go.
Go
Those are the only
Cubs,
one. I don't
go.
know of any other pair of White Sox.
That's amazing.
Cubs
Okay,
all the way.
originally from Chicago, but you're local now. Is that right?
Yeah, I moved to Dallas in 2016.
Okay.
Actually moved to Frisco when I first moved
Oh,
here.
hey, there
I
we go.
love
Yeah,
it.
I lived in Frisco before it was its own country.
That's
See, now
amazing.
Frisco is like its own country.
That's true.
It's so big.
That's
but I've watched it grow, but we're in Dallas now.
I love that so much. And I know a lot of people are watching and they're like, I feel like I know him. I've seen that face before. You do have your own show. Tell us about your show.
Yeah, Talking Funny Cars with Buddy Hull, of course, on it's on a lot of channels, but the one that we feel that most people are catching on is the Roku channel. It's the NHRA channel. So it's on the back side and on the front side of a lot of the NHRA events, past and present. It's really cool. What we do on the show is we bring current funny car drivers and some past as well. We have a special show coming up with a past funny car driver, but we bring those
He
drivers.
used to be funny. He's not funny anymore.
Yes, no, it's not
Ter-
funny.
not funny at
Used to be
all.
funny. Now it's not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Kind of like Kevin.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kind of dour.
Google
It
that.
could be worse, man. It could always be worse. And so we bring those drivers in and we talk about, we just talk kind of like we're talking. So, I believe that one of the things that all motorsports fans crave the most is getting to know the driver. Right. And understanding what makes the driver tick and
I agree.
and understanding, how that driver started their career and how, it's evolved. And it's a big deal. And so we're trying to bring that to the table, and that show's evolving. I have to give all the credit to a guy that helped me get started, which is Elon Werner. He helped, it's his idea. I'm just a lucky guy that gets to get on there and talk is what it really is. And so, but, I can't do with all the people around me, Jim Dunn Racing, that's who I drive for. That's Johnna's grandfather.
Yeah.
And they're heavy supporters of what we do. And it's just all great. Just like we work with True Brand and just like we work with y'all. It's all the same stuff. We're blessed to be around a bunch of good people.
We had the pleasure of being out at the track again this year, thanks to True Brand. And one of the things, Buddy, that really stands out to me is just how accessible you are to the fans,
Yep.
you know, when you're able to. But I think it's kind of like you hire for character, you train for skill.
Yep.
It's been fun to watch your trajectory in the sport. And I do want to talk about that here in just a second. But I want to commend you because you're just such a likable person. And I think that you make yourself available to your fans through the show, through social media. Why do you think that type of exposure is so important to the sport?
Well, so, you know, I was raised in a situation where in my life, the only way I was going to reach the goals that I wanted to reach was through me. You know, I didn't have a family member that had the ability to take me where I'm at. I had to take myself. So I always go back to saying, I'll never forget where I came from. So when I was little, even though my family didn't have much, we still went to the drag races. I'm a 3rd generation drag racer. Sounds fancy. We never had any nice stuff. So don't kid yourself. But anyway, we still were at the racetrack. We still helped other people. You know, the stories could go on for days and days, but the things that I remember growing up as a kid were certain drivers and certain times in which they made an impact on me when people were friendly to me, right? And I always thought to myself, they didn't have to be friendly to me, but they were. So I kind of like that guy, or I kind of like that girl. And so as I evolved through my life and, you know, played other sports and had opportunities to be an influence on people, I always thought to myself, well, it's easy to be nice, right? It's hard to be mean, right? It's kind of like it takes twice the calories to frown as it does to smile. So the idea was, if I can just be friendly to people and I can use my abilities to communicate and be friendly and inspire people to get where I want to go, then I can bring them along with me, right? Because a long time ago, I was reading a book, and it said in the book, and I've said this quote a million times, if you just help enough people in life get what you want, you'll always have what you want. So if I believe that I've in fact proven that you can come from nothing and go as far as you want, get to the highest level of anything in the world if you choose to. You know, obviously I can't make it in the NBA. I'm a little short for that, but that wasn't a dream of mine.
Spud Webb was here once.
Yeah, Spud Webb, 5'4", could dunk a basketball. But you know, that's kind of my story, and so my story is one that I always try to be accessible. Sometimes I'm not, by design, because I still have to drive a race car that makes 12,000 horsepower. So sometimes I do seclude myself. There are times where I go in the trailer and I get away from everybody. I think about what I'm going to do. But the truth is, I try to be the most accessible driver at the racetrack. Yesterday, we spent a ton of time on the starting line, you know, during the fuel categories, taking, you know, some of your guests and the guests from True Brands up to the starting line and giving them a feel what it's like to be on the starting line with 24,000 horsepower unleashing. It's pretty cool.
Remarkable.
I mean, you know, first of all, I love the jerseys. So I did a little switch out. You know, of course, Ashley, we're going to keep cooking her in this suit for as long as
I
possible.
actually can't get out of it, so I'm wearing this from here on out.
Right. You're going to be wearing this the rest of the day.
That's a sauna suit. She's working out right now.
A lot of Crisco inside
Well,
this thing.
I love this concept of having like all the logos on it. I actually kind of wish NBCF had one. Just a jersey. We should just get a jersey.
Yeah.
You know, for all our sponsors, like NBCF sponsors, and walk around.
love it.
Right? That'd be pretty cool. And then have our name stitched on the back.
Be
That's a
awesome.
really good idea.
Get like
We have the
patches,
resources. We have the
We know
resources.
people.
We know who to send you to for that.
All right. Let's do that.
We know people.
So when there's a business component to this, obviously,
Yes.
like I think a lot of people that don't know about racing don't realize how much of this is just securing sponsorships and marketing yourselves and all that kind of thing. And you've been, this is a segue into talking to Johnna here for a second, but one of the things that the famous Hall of Fame, so he's the drag racing Hall of Fame, amazing racer, Jim Dunn, your grandfather, Johnna, he had reached out to you, I guess, and something, I'm paraphrasing the quote, but it had to do with the fact that you were such a good marketer and that you were a great representation, essentially, and a phenomenal racer. Is why they wanted to add you. Can you just tell us about how that went down? That's really amazing. And then I want to get a little insight on him from Johnna.
So our teams operate in a very similar way, and I think that's what makes it work so well. Right here, right now. I was racing a part-time schedule prior to driving the Dunn's car full-time, and a lot of the ways we operated were very similar, right? So often rotating primary sponsors, getting new names out there that no one else had ever seen before, which is something that is unique. A lot of teams will tend to pass sponsors around, or they keep them out there for 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 years, which is also good. But yeah, that was the deal. There's not many of us out there, right? There's only 13 full-time, nitro funny car drivers. And I think there's now 14 top fuel drivers. So to be chosen to have a role like that's a big deal. I'm thankful, and I do my part to make sure that I represent them the right way, because he is a Hall of Famer, right? And so to do a good job in the race car on and off the track as well means everything, because anything in my life I've ever done, I've always had to look way ahead. If I don't look way ahead, I'm going to fail, right? I don't have anything to fall back on besides my own skills. There's no one going to save me. There's no net behind me. So for me to do a good job in the race car and a good job, with media and being accessible is working towards securing our future as a team, right? Because it's winning, right? And let's be real. This is a highly competitive sport. Drag racing is highly competitive, and so the goal is to always win, right? When we show up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're there to win. We're there to do the best we can. We have an incredible team. I mean, I could go along the list of every single crew member we have, and list all the reasons why I feel like in every single one of those people, they serve the role that they're the best out there, because that's what it takes. And if you don't believe that your team's that way, or you don't believe that those people are going to get you to where you need to be, then you're in the wrong place. Well, we don't have that going on. So it just works well. I'll say that it just works well, and it's very synonymous. And you mentioned the business. It does take sponsors. It does take money, but representing those sponsors the right way and representing the NHRA the right way, the whole idea is to do such a great job at that they want to do business with us, right? Because if you're doing a good job as a team owner and a driver and a promoter and all those things, it means people want to spend money with you. It means, because every company out there, I'm a business owner as well. I'm a local business owner. So I sponsor things. I sponsor all kinds of stuff. I sponsor the little girl's drag car. I think this year I sponsored 2 soccer teams, a softball team, a bowling league, all kinds of stuff, right? It's everyone's looking for a way. I sponsor a race car. We had a Vertex funny car this year. Everybody that owns a company is looking for a way to market their brand, market what they do. And we want people to come to us. We don't want to have to go to them all the time.
That's
right?
incredible.
Yep.
I will be hitting you up for a soccer sponsorship
And Girl
in about
Scout cookies.
20
You hit me up.
minutes. Yeah. Johnna,
Let's go.
I want to know what it's like to be a female in a male-dominated industry. I mean, obviously your resume speaks for itself, and you're effective, you're efficient, your talent is incredible. But what is it like day to day being a female there?
I mean, I didn't have a choice. So I have no brothers, no sisters. I grew up at the racetrack. It worked out. I love what I do. I love being with my family every weekend, whether we are racing on the weekend or working in the race shop. Even at home, we're talking about race cars. So we eat, sleep, and breathe racing. That is all we do. You spoke a little bit about my papa being a legend and a Hall of Famer. He says it's just another word for him being old. That's what he tells everybody. Yep. But I see him in my eyes as a hero. I truly do. He is a legend to me, and he's my grandpa. So definitely him and my dad, they're my inspiration. Working in a male dominant sport though, I mean, it's like having a bunch of brothers out there.
Yeah, but she's tougher than half the dudes.
They do.
Yeah,
I mean,
usually.
That
You
doesn't
kidding me?
surprise me.
That's why Ashley.
Yeah.
What explain to me what a clutch expert, what is your role for people that aren't as familiar with the car?
So I definitely have the hottest job on the car.
I love it.
Literally, yes. So I am full on. I got heat sleeves that I wear up past my elbows. I got Kevlar gloves that I'm putting on. I take that clutch out of the car and it is blazing hot. I mean, it is glowing white when I am taking it out of that car.
Around 1,400 degrees.
Yes.
Oh,
So just getting close enough, it'll melt your skin. So there's a lot of protective gear that I have to put on just taking that car apart type of thing. We were running a 5-disc. In the beginning of the season, we just switched to a 6-disc. 6-disc is way more aggressive, so we're still figuring stuff out.
That's why I use an 8-disc usually.
I can't.
Yeah, you're a good
Yeah.
driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For my
But,
Honda Accord.
Yeah, the Gordon.
We're fixing the tickles there, and we're making it work, which is good.
That's right.
But I work hand in hand with Rodney and then my father as well. So we kind of tag team the clutch there a little bit, but I love it. It's like a big twister game. We all know our spots. We know where to put our hands, our legs, our feet, everywhere, and we make it work, honestly. Yeah.
I love it that it's a family-run business. You know, National Breast Cancer Foundation was started around the kitchen table as well by the Hull family. And the way that they work together so well, it just blows my mind because I would just be fighting like cats and dogs constantly.
Except that our working together is the only heat concerns we have is, oh, this paper's a little hot coming
That's
off the
fair.
Xerox
It's
or
not-
something. It's not exactly like replacing engines.
Well,
We do
I would agree with that, but I'm just so curious to know about y'all's dynamic. I mean, do you drive each other crazy being together all the time?
You know, we don't. We
No.
are a tight-knit family. That is for sure.
cool.
My grandma even works on the car as well. So
No
she
way.
Stop.
she mixes
Oh,
the
man.
nitro and she does the fuel for
Yep.
the funny car. So she's in her 80s. My grandpa is 90.
Sure, she's still working the pit.
She's almost 90. She's 88 years old. My grandpa's
Oh,
90.
tough.
Stop it. We've got to get her on the
So-
podcast.
Yeah.
That's
They
incredible.
travel to every single race on an airplane. My papa tunes the race car.
Yep.
You got my dad that, finds our sponsorship for the race team.
Yep.
He makes the calls on the car as well. And then I do the clutch. So it truly is a family dynamic.
How fun.
Well,
Yeah.
and you won't brag about you, so we're going to brag about you. You're also saving lives, doing other things, right? Tell us about your other job that you have.
I do. So I stay very busy. I live a very busy lifestyle. During the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I work at St. Jude Hospital in California. I work in the emergency room. So I'm there, 12, 14-hour days. Tomorrow I actually have a 14-hour shift, so I'm going to fly home tonight and I'll be there at 6:30 in the morning tomorrow.
I can't. You're an angel on earth, seriously.
well,
and you
thank
just
you.
won
I
an award
appreciate
from
that.
St. Jude's, I read. Tell me about the award that you won.
I did. So we have our core values, just like y'all have your core values here. You have 5 core values. We started off with 4 core values, and then because of me, they added the core value of compassion.
Stop.
So they transformed 11 different Providence hospitals and added the core value of compassion. So when you walk into that main door of Providence St. Jude Hospital in that front office area where you're checking into the hospital, you'll see a photo of me, my name, a little bit about me, and my title there at the hospital. But you'll see the title Compassion up above my photo there. Which is
Oh, that's
So
a
much to be
great
proud
thing
to be
known
of.
for.
Seriously.
Wow.
That's incredible. We know a lot about that world here, and it's crazy that kind of both the roles that you're playing are life and death. I mean, it's incredible. And a lot of what you do has to do with the success and the outcome. Do you feel a lot of weight going into either of those jobs on a daily basis?
I would say working at the racetrack and honestly working in the emergency room are very similar.
Yeah.
I'm part of the code team in the ER. So when there's a code blue, so somebody's heart stops, there's a certain team that responds to that situation. We have a team, obviously, for the race team. Everybody has their own job. We know our role. We know our position. We know where we need to stand. We know what we need to get done. And then when our job is done, we can check our teammates and see if they need any help. It's the same thing with responding to a code in the hospital. So you have a certain amount of time to get what you need done for a certain result.
It's like high pressure either way. I mean, the concept
It definitely
of big
is.
stakes, you're working in a highly dynamic, time sensitive type of. So I mean, growing up in that, did you just kind of get used to that? I mean, you're around this concept of, oh man, you could die at any time. Things are hot. Stuff's got to happen. You got to work as a team. Like obviously that you drifted into, from the second career, you drifted into that. Do you find yourself just kind of fearless, or what's your mindset?
I don't know about all that. I do like the pressure. I do like the fast pace of everything. I think I thrive under pressure a little bit. It's just my happy zone. It's my safe zone.
You're always
honestly.
coming in clutch.
Okay,
And I
that's
like
right.
that.
Pun
Yeah.
intended.
that was
Nothing
good.
funny about
And
that.
six
All the
disc,
puns.
I like it.
6 disc. Okay, buddy. Speaking of pressure,
Yeah.
you just became a new dad.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. No
Favorite
pressure.
title, right?
Don't screw
What's
that
Dad?
that
up,
like?
right?
That's
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing you got on your plate right now.
Yeah. No, it's the coolest thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of cool stuff in my life. That's certainly the coolest. Up until that point, I could probably think of a dozen things that I've done that I would say, that were a close tie to being cool. Driving a nitro funny car is definitely, without doubt, cool. And the dream of so many that I get to do. But I think for anybody listening, right, I think that if you're not a parent, you couldn't explain what it's like to be a parent or what it feels like, right? And then, just the journey, right? My kid won't have to have my kid will have what I didn't have. And I don't mean spoil him and let him act a fool, but what I mean is a better life, more opportunity. You know, it's funny because within an hour after he was born, I had this epiphany, right? And I was like sitting there looking at him. I'd been awake for 3 days. I may have been hallucinating, but that's besides the point. Been up for 3 days. You ever been up 3 days before, by the way?
Yeah, we're parents.
It's weird.
We
It's
have.
different.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I had an epiphany, and it was that every single person on this planet is someone's child, right? And I thought to myself, I pray that everyone treats my child the right way. And then the next step in my brain was every single person I interact with, I have to make sure I treat the right way because that is someone's son or daughter.
That's really hard to do on the toll road, though, when they cut you off.
And
Right?
it's hard, isn't it? You want to go straight into like Tony Stewart mode, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Tony
think
Stewart.
St. Jude should give him the compassion award, right? Because that's like pretty extraordinary character.
But think about that,
yeah.
right?
No,
I
that's
told
good.
John a few weeks ago, hey, just want you to know, your grandpa is the son of someone. We were both like, that's weird because he's 90, right?
Yeah.
And it's just Big Jim, right? He's like he's lived forever. He's like,
Yeah.
Can't be, But anyway, I had an epiphany, and so being a dad is really just it's brought a different mindset for me. But yeah, it's the coolest thing I've ever done.
Well, speaking of the coolest thing you've ever done,
Yeah.
it has been really fun as a fan to watch your trajectory in the sport. What do you think is next? I want to say for both of you. Like, is this your end goal? Do you have bigger aspirations? What are those? What's next for you guys?
Win. We want to win. I think the biggest if you're in a competitive sport and your number one goal isn't winning and then finding and then enjoying the journey to get there, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Ooh, you're talking to the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Oh Lord, the Cowboys, they're on the journey. Yeah. We want to win, right? And that's a big deal. And that takes time. It takes the right resources. It takes money, right? It takes runs. It takes all these things. And we're going to have fun getting there, right? It's like, same thing I tell my employees, you don't fall in love with the end result. You fall in love with the process to get there. Because if you fall in love with the process to get to the end result, then you're always having fun. Right? True. So many people hate the process but love the result. No, you can't. No, the result is just the result. The pain of the process to get there is what must be loved. And so along the way, I think if you're doing it with the right people and you're still making that in a sense that those painful moments as fun as they can be and remaining positive, that's when you start to win. Right? That's what makes a team a winner. So we want to win. There's no reason why we can't win. And I mean win. Like why if your goal is not to win a world championship, why are you driving racing?
What stopped you, in your opinion, from winning so far?
So 95% of what we do in terms of performance has a lot to do with our ability to run more. Right? So runs. So it's like this. What sports did you play?
All of them.
Play golf right now?
Yeah, golf. Yeah. I
Okay,
love
let's talk golf. So just for a second, let's talk golf. I play golf as well. And there's no question there are times in our lives as men where we have a little bit more free time than others, and we can go to the driving range a little bit more. And when we go to play 18 with our buddies, what happens? We play better. We hit the ball better. All right. So with more resources, more financial resources, we get to run our race car more. We get to stay on Monday and test.
So you're choosing, you kind of have to almost choose because of resources,
Correct.
which races you can run and practice.
We run all the races, but we run the races.
Yeah.
We don't get to test.
the practice.
It's
Yeah.
staying
Like
after and
yeah.
testing.
Yeah.
So like that
Yeah,
Monday and
yeah.
Tuesday after the race.
Yeah.
Often a lot of our competitors that are winning more than we are winning, they're making 25 to 75 runs before the season even starts.
Oh, wow.
So we're going into the season with like 5, 6, 7, 8 runs because we do test. We tested in Bakersfield, California this past winter. But us getting 5 or 6, 7 runs really just knocks the dust off of it. Those guys have made like 50, 60 runs and they're already into their tune-up for the year. And then I think there's 11 or 12 races during the season, which you can stay after on Monday and test. And those teams will make 4, 5, 6 runs. So the answer is just like golf. The more you swing the club, the better at it you get. The driver gets more seat time. The team gets more car turnarounds. The tuner gets more data. So it's resources, right? And these cars are powered by nitromethane, and which is money, right?
Yeah.
It takes money to power these things. So we're always looking for resources.
Well, speaking of those resources, it was a really cool and surreal moment to watch you get out of that car, flip the lid, and NBCF is on there. I want to make sure we thank True Brand for the opportunity to have a small space on the car and to bring awareness to the women and families we serve.
Yeah.
What does it mean to both of you to have the opportunity to share the mission of NBCF?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a blessing. You know, I have two breast cancer survivors in my family. My aunt on my father's side, and then my wife's grandmother. My wife's grandmother had it pretty bad. So it's close to me. I don't know if it really could get any closer. And so for me, it means a lot. You know, I love supporting things that I believe in. And every year for the last 3 years at the Texas Motorplex, I've worked with some type of organization to raise money. So it's amazing. It's just, why not? Why not do good? It feels good to do good. Yeah. It does not feel good to do bad or to not do anything. Mm-hmm. So if there's an opportunity to do good, I think you should do it as a human being.
Yeah. I love it. Johnna, what's next for you?
Oh boy, I don't know. Whether that is continuing working on the car and the clutch. I dabbled in racing myself a little bit last season, so I hopped in an A-Fuel dragster and I made some runs myself.
Just hopped in
just casually. Yeah, typical Tuesday.
I have a top fuel car in my shop we're trying to talk her into.
I might hop in something again next year and make a few runs in something else, maybe. Right. Top fuel dragster, another A-Fuel car, so we'll see what that pans out to be and what that looks like.
You're just open for the adventure. You're just open, right?
You've got to come back on the show whenever you do so we can hear all about that experience.
It's the next generation. Everybody asks me about it, so it's almost, I think it's time.
I love it. This is her announcement. This could be it. This is the moment where you could be announcing that it's happening.
We'll
this
see.
Is it. This is it. Well, thank you guys both so much for your time and your talent, and you're doing good things with your God-given talent. That means the world to us. We appreciate you guys being here, and we look forward to visiting with you both again very soon.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to coming back.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, we are now joined by longtime NBCF partner for 12 plus years, our Bronze Award winners this year. Give it up for the ladies of True Brand.
All right.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have Crystal and Amber here. We love you guys so much. And I tell you what, we've spent some hours together in those pits.
Yeah.
It's been the pleasure of a lifetime. Thank you guys so much for all the years and all the amazing things that you've done for the women and the families that we've served. I want to know why NBCF?
Well, we did a lot of research and homework. When Amber and I started our company 15 years ago, we wanted to give back to the community. As a female-owned and operated automotive additive company, we're in a male-dominated industry. We just wanted to do something. My grandmother passed away from breast cancer actually a couple months after I was born. So it really does hit home. But what we loved about your foundation is that you save women today. You're helping save women's lives now by finding early detection. And so we did a lot of homework, and we're so proud and blessed to be able to call ourselves NBCF family.
Thank you.
That's so good. And what is it about racing? I mean, obviously the product that you serve, but we've spent, like I said, a lot of time in those pits. Tell me more about pro stock racing and drag and all that good stuff.
So obviously we're an automotive company, so that's kind of how we got involved in it. But we love cars. We love the noise. We love cars. It's fast. It's speed. And it worked out well. So we're able to partner with you and be able to go to the races, especially in Dallas. So it worked out really well.
And originally we were in NASCAR. And so Amber and I got called by Camrie and said, would you like to be on my card as a sponsor in Gainesville? So Amber and I, we were only intending to sponsor her that race. And man, when that car took off, she and I looked at each other and we knew we were in trouble. We were hooked immediately, as I'm sure you guys are as well.
No, it's such a cool experience. We've talked about this, you feel it. I think there's a lot of synergies in that though, because we feel the impact of your sponsorship. We feel the impact of you guys being a part of the NBCF family. I mean, Crystal, you do it better than anybody I've ever seen. We were on a lot of microphones this past weekend and you were like, and Ashley, say this about that and make sure you say this. And I'm like, you know our mission and our brand better than we do.
Right, yeah.
It's just such a really cool thing. I know, Kevin, you had a couple questions for Crystal and Amber.
Yeah, I mean, what is it about automotive? How did you get started? I mean, I'm kind of fascinated by that. I mean, so you're co-CEOs and you start 15 years ago.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Oh, goodness. So it actually goes back to the 70s when my father and my uncle started in the automotive industry. And so it's the industry that I grew up in and loved. And so her and I started this in 2010, and my father and mother actually supported us. And here we are.
Yeah, the warehouse we started in, our forklift could do about a 16-point turn. That's how tiny our warehouse
Yes,
was. And she
yes.
and I shared a little tiny office space. And so we started basically with nothing and have grown it. What's our square footage now?
It's about 100,000.
Oh, my stars.
Yeah, what a
Yeah.
great
So not bragging, but
entrepreneurial
we
story.
have come a long way. And I will say, like, not to be negative at all, but one of our competitors originally said that if those two girls wanted to be successful in life, they should open a coffee shop. And that's what they said to us. So it was kind of fuel to the fire to make, we were going to succeed no matter
That was
what.
the jewels to our fuel,
right?
Hope
Yeah.
you guys are watching us now from the
Yeah.
Hope Ignited podcast.
Yeah.
No, you have done an amazing job, and you put humility and integrity at the forefront of everything that you do. Speaking of those two traits, how did you add Buddy Hull to the team this year?
Oh, yeah. So we have really enjoyed that relationship. So Maddie, Buddy's wife, reached out to us, and we were able to meet them at a trade show that we attend in Las Vegas, actually in 2023. And so we were able to develop that partnership for 24. And obviously in the future, we'll be able to continue that partnership and relationship. And it's been really great.
So cool.
I thank you. I just want to thank you guys on behalf of our NBCF for being such a pioneering and visionary female-driven business. It's again, we've said it's very inspirational for you to have gone into that and done this. Starting with that little tiny forklift,
Yep, yep.
in a janitor's closet,
right.
And then now you've kind of trailblazed into this amazing sport. And what else do you have in the future? What does True Brand want to be doing?
Oh,
What's your
goodness.
vision?
One of the things that we really like, obviously, is the people. Our employees are very important to us, and then our customers are very important. So that's one of the things, again, going back to our relationship and partnership with NBCF, everything that you do is wrapped around people. And
Family.
so, again, moving forward, everything, the decisions that we make is people. Basically, and so
Fantastic.
I love that
guess
so
that's
much.
what I would say.
Well, I want you to know we're family as long as you'll have us, and you really are making a big difference. Just at the race this weekend, we had somebody walk up to us and just say, "Hey, are you the National Breast Cancer Foundation? You helped me. I was dirt poor whenever I needed it most, and your programs and your services are genuinely like why I'm standing here today."
Yeah.
And we just were so taken aback by that. But it's a constant reminder when we're in it all day, just really the power of what we're doing, and we wouldn't be able to do it were it not for amazing partners and family members like y'all. So Crystal, Amber, we love you guys. Thank you so much to True Brand for all the years, and we look forward to many, many more years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.
Yes.
What an incredible episode that was. One of my favorites of all time.
Oh, I loved it. It was so much fun.
Anything
Love
that
talking about races.
stuck out to you?
Well, I think one thing that I did not understand was that, like Johnna was talking about, working on the clutches and having to take them out in between
Yeah.
races.
That
right?
blew
and
my
so they're,
mind.
What, like 1,000, 1,200, degrees or something. She's
Yes.
having to wear oven mitts and stuff.
I
like
can't imagine. Like I burn like cookies taking them out of the oven.
That. Right.
She's goals for real.
Yeah, no, seriously, she's probably, like when I worked at Red Lobster a long time ago, I remember I burned my hand a bunch of times. I almost quit because of that. think
You
she'd
turned
be good
into
on the
a
Expo?
Red Lobster when you
Yeah.
worked there.
Yeah, it says
No,
yes.
she'd kill. She'd kill
Yeah,
at any
she-
restaurant, anytime, always. But she's literally like
How did we
saving
get to
lives
Red Lobster on
because
this?
you burnt your hands at Red Lobster. Also, you
Anyway,
worked at Red Lobster.
I think I was trying to equate the fact that my job at Red Lobster was as dangerous and difficult
Pretty
as
much the
being a
same.
clutch specialist on a fuel car.
And a
top
nurse
fuel car.
saving lives, no big deal. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and that's
fine.
the other thing too.
That's fine. She's
Anyway, the
insane.
whole episode, I was like fascinated. Of course, I loved hearing the breakdown of the race. But like, tell me about like from your experience, you actually went to the races.
Yeah, no, it was incredible to be out there. I mean, every year I think I underestimate how loud it's going to be. There's something about that adrenaline that just gets you going, and
The volume
just
is
oh my gosh.
mind-boggling.
Well, and Crystal and Amber with True Brand do an incredible job at just the hospitality aspect of it. I mean, you feel like you're in it the entire time, whether you're
Yeah.
like on the side of the track or even the way that they themed out the lunch that they fed us. One of my favorite moments was sitting with Camrie, and we were actually at a Q&A Q&A for her. So this entire tent is full of just fans from everywhere waiting to hear her do a Q&A. And she said, you know what, y'all go up and do a panel first. It was with Fox, which was great for us, and talk a little bit about the partnership. And if they get to me, great. If they don't, no big deal. We're there for her Q&A, right? Like I can hear the boos basically whenever we get on the stage. And I'm not exaggerating. We're in the middle of like talking about the heart behind the partnership, and she gets up and she runs. It was her time to be racing. And she was giving it up to us. So if that tells you anything about that family, Camrie, Marc, they are just first class, buddy. Everybody. It was an incredible day at the track, and an even better episode. So my question to you is, what are we doing?
We love our whiteboards.
We do love our whiteboards. Porcupine Shell.
Yeah, Porcupine. That's her new nickname. If you didn't see the last episode.
Yeah, my leg hair can attest to that. Porcupine.
Porcupine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Porcupines and I are going to do a little, what do you call it? I would say like name as many race car drivers as possible.
Yeah.
I was a little cocky, admittedly, a minute ago when she came up with the idea a minute ago.
This guy.
It shows you how much we prepare.
Yeah, right.
But she's like, yeah, maybe we could name race car drivers. And I go, you're going to get nailed on
This
that.
is
And
gonna
then
be good.
she's like, oh, yeah? So I actually wonder what pocket of racers you know. So we're gonna take a minute and see how many we can.
And our
name.
producer's keeping time.
Yeah.
So we will have 1 minute on the clock. We're going to get a countdown. And then what we'll do when we're done is go through our list to see who had the most. And I know that I'm going to win. So I can't wait.
Oh, okay, we'll see.
And the race
so we
is
have our little whiteboards and we have our black pens and we're about to dig in here.
Yeah,
So
let's
here we
go. Okay, let us
All
know.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Shoot.
Does it need to be first and last name?
It's something that's recognizable. Oh my gosh. I'm completely blank.
You forget where I'm from.
Wow, I'm just blanked out on.
I sure didn't. If you're listening, I'm winning.
30 seconds.
I'm sweating. You were already sweating before this, though. Ooh. I'm listing the cutest ones last for some reason. I don't really know why.
15 seconds.
Not me. Wow,
Wow,
yeah, this is really bad, guys. I'm completely blank. I've collapsed. This is like Scatterboards or something.
5 seconds?
5 seconds.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
It's over.
This is the worst I've ever done. I got so much pressure on me.
Before, I want to know how many you have.
Is it?
Wait, no, don't say it all. Don't say it all out. We're going to say it at the same time.
This is the worst. I'm so humiliated.
Okay, at the same time, say how many you have. 1, 2. This guy. One job. I'm 12.
Okay, go ahead. Good.
I'm 12.
I have 5. I collapsed. My brain did this thing where it started saying, "You're a failure. You're a failure." And it collapsed on
Pray for
itself.
you.
I know. I need to go to counseling after
Oh
this.
my gosh.
So I just
Okay,
shut down.
I
don't know if
think
any of these are real.
From a sympathy
Okay.
vote, maybe you should
Let's
go
just go one
first.
for one. Let's go. I'm sweating.
Okay.
Now. Let's go 1 for 1.
Okay, maybe I should go first since I have more.
Okay.
Mark Martin.
Okay, that's good. I'm Camrie. Camrie, since we just talked about her.
I should have thought about our
Somewhere,
guest.
okay, you're gonna know right when my wheels flew off.
Okay.
Right when I
Wow,
touched the
but
hot
I'm
clutch.
okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay, who's next?
Terry Labonte.
Okay, that's good. I know his brother, and I didn't even think of his name. Bobby Labonte.
Bobbity.
Bobby Labonte.
I always my whole life said bobbity bobbity.
Bobby.
Okay.
Jeff Gordon.
Ooh, don't.
Okay, that's
I
the
did
last
not
real
like
one I
him.
have.
Okay, Bobby Labonte.
Bob. Did you write Bobby after
Sure
Terry?
did. Bobby, yeah.
Wow.
Aren't they dad and son? Brother and brother.
Yeah.
Cousins.
No, they're brothers.
They're-
They're brothers.
and it's NASCAR, they're cousins.
When I worked at
Okay.
Interstate Batteries, he was the guy. I have all this. When I worked at Interstate Batteries a long time ago as a financial analyst.
That was before or after Red Lobster?
After, believe it or not.
During.
And they used to give us all this race gear. So
Yeah.
I still have like these bags. I have a beach towel.
Can
from
I have
Interstate
one?
Batteries. I don't know. Maybe.
Clearly I'm a
they're
bigger
like
race fan
25
than
years
you are,
old,
so-
if you really want like a nasty.
Don't think
Interstate
I don't.
Batteries
That was
bucket
back when
hat.
Kevin knew a little bit about racing. Okay,
Yeah.
you're next.
Oh, AJ Floyd.
Ooh, that's a good one.
No, I made that up.
It sounds like
You're gonna
a.
see a pattern here.
It sounds like that when
It's
Reba
A.
was
I
in
was
Little
thinking,
Rascals. AJ.
No, I was thinking AJ Floyd, Foyt, or the Foyts or something like that.
This is going well.
Wow. Okay, go ahead.
Dale Earnhardt.
Good. Buddy Bobby.
What is that even?
I don't know. That was Bobby Labonte.
It's a string of just names. Like,
Yeah, this is just insulting.
okay, are you done?
No,
Okay.
go ahead. I got two more.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Okay,
Keep it in the
amazing,
family.
amazing.
Yeah.
Jim Bob Smith. I went to high school with that guy.
That sounds like a country music song.
Okay, what else you got?
Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, this is my last one. Stan. Couldn't even think of a name.
I would like to read the rest of mine to
Okay, go ahead,
slam
go
dunk
ahead.
you in the face. Okay,
Question.
Chase Elliott. And then Chase Elliott.
Okay.
That's Bill Elliott's,
Elliott's
son.
Son, okay.
Yeah, okay, are you ready? Now these are the
Yeah,
best.
okay.
Greatest racers of all time. I save the best for last. Ready?
All right, go ahead. String them off.
Mario, Luigi, Princess Toad, and Bowser.
Oh my God.
Yes! Okay, even if I
Shout out
took
to
those
Mario
away,
Kart.
I still literally beat you back.
I mean, I only had Jeff Gordon because I didn't even put Camrie's last name.
But here's to Camry's like that. You
And
went
I
from
didn't even put the
Camry
guy
to
we
Jeff Gordon.
interviewed,
You
buddy.
put Camry before Jeff Gordon. That's pretty good. That's good for Camry.
guess so.
Yeah, Buddy Holt, like Buddy. You started Buddy,
I think that's what happened. Then I went to
Buddy-
like Bobby
Buddy-
Bobby something.
and none of us said if you're not first, you're last.
All day. But I would obviously need a lot of time in counseling before I could do that.
We all would if we have to sit here and listen.
Yeah,
to
but
it.
that was awful. So yes, okay, you win. You're the racing queen.
Yes.
You've been to more races than I have.
Wave
but,
the checkered flag for me. I will do some burnouts in the parking lot before I leave.
Okay, so anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this?
No, I mean,
episode
it
up?
just was a really,
fun,
it's my
wasn't it?
favorite event that we do every year with them. I hope that they will join us seriously every year. We had 3 third-generation racing families
Yeah.
here in our podcast studio.
I know,
Like, that's
isn't that amazing?
incredible. I always underestimate how good they're going to be. And that episode just
Yeah.
really, it was incredible.
One of the things I love so much about shooting Hope Ignited
Mm-hmm.
is that we get exposed to these different industries that we don't really know
Yes.
anything about. Like
Yes.
some we know less about than others.
Yeah.
But like getting to learn a little bit, getting to talk to these people who are just amazing. So we really appreciate you guys sticking around for some of these. I know sometimes it's like you come into it and you go, "Oh, I don't really know anything about that," and we always try to kind of meet people where they are.
Yeah,
on it
they're
and have a
thought
good time with
leaders.
it.
They're all the
Yeah.
best at what they do in their industry. And that's what makes it fun because we're learning too.
And there's patterns too. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
really neat when you talk to very successful people.
Yeah.
And these people are risk takers too. Which
Agreed.
Is the other thing.
Agreed.
When you talk to people like
so
that,
am I
they
working
think
with you.
different.
Yeah, agreed.
I love that. It
They
inspires
do
me
think
so
different.
much.
Yeah.
So-
Bubba Bobby Smith.
Buddy Bobby, I really enjoyed my time with Stan. Let me tell you, that guy took me 2 laps around.
Stan's a real
at,
stand-up
Texas Motor
guy.
Speedway.
Yeah, real stand-up guy. Well,
I'm
thank
a
you guys
Stan.
again so much
Yeah.
for putting up with us.
Yeah,
We hope
thank
that you
you.
laughed a little bit, learned a lot, and we look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Hope Ignited.
See you guys.